Hey, sports card fans, welcome back to another episode of Two Guys, One Hobby. As always, I have my sidekick with me here, Don's Field of Dreams. Don, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, John?
Very good, very good.
Good.
So, this is
So,
the first
yes, it
episode
is.
of the year.
Yeah, and our introduction is a little different here for the new year.
Yes, yeah, new
Not on
year, new
purpose.
introduction. We're having some initial technical difficulties with bringing someone on the screen and stuff. So, right off the bat, we have our guest for this episode, Mike Jayhawker Vintage Cards. Mike, welcome to Two Guys, One Hobby.
Thanks for having me on. Pretty excited
Yeah.
about this. Always love to do the collaboration. So, and you guys are two that I'm not super familiar with in terms of communication. I watch your stuff. So this is exciting. This is
Yeah,
one of
that's
the
pretty
main
cool.
reasons I started in this community was to meet
Yeah.
people. And so
Yeah,
I'm
that's the
excited.
And
first
we'll have
time we've
a
ever
chance,
talked. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, we'll have a chance to meet in person at the upcoming Independence show.
Absolutely. Very excited
in
about that.
April. So
Quite the change.
that'll be great. Well, Mike, how about you give us just a little bit of intro on your YouTube channel? You're fairly new, about 9 months, I think, on roughly 9-10 months on YouTube. How you get started, and basically what you collect, and we'll get into, I think, maybe a broader topic of your collection and the YouTube community.
Sure. So again, I'm Mike with Jayhawker Vintage Cards. Now, I have a very typical, I think, collecting history. Now, I started actually collecting in 1982. Now, I had some cards before that I've talked about, but I really started collecting in 1982 when I was 10 years old. But unlike a lot of guys, now I did collect the cards of that era, but I was immediately gravitated towards vintage. Even at that young age, a lot of it had to do with I'm a history buff from the time I can start reading. My local card shop owner at the time, who basically he became a mentor to me. He helped guide me as well into vintage. So I've always liked baseball history. I grew up in the Kansas City area, and I'm a Royals fan, but I'm more of a baseball history
Mhm.
fan. But I started collecting and I started selling at shows when I was 17. I'm setting
Mm,
up the shows and did that through my, early college, and then after college you get married, you have a couple kids, and
real
I
world, yeah.
never totally got out of collecting, but it was very narrow. A lot of the stuff I collected, I'd pick up guys that I liked. Picked up a lot of like KU players who went on to the NBA or the NFL, things like that. But I never totally left. But I'll tell you what, and I tell this to everybody because I'm from Kansas, born and raised, Lawrence, Kansas, home of the Kansas Jayhawks, hence my name. And it is a vintage desert out here. And I've talked to a lot of my YouTube friends about that. And I really think the reason for that is where I live at. Think about the population of the country and think, there's a lot more people back east. And even when these cards, like the vintage cards, 70, 80, 100 years ago, again, those were out back east. So it's a lot of effort for those cards. Somebody has to bring those cards out in
Sure.
this area. And it's really interesting when you go to shows around here. I do get a little jealous when I hear the guys who live east of the Mississippi River because you guys meet up at shows a lot. There's incredible dealers there. We don't see that in my area at all. It's if you see something vintage, normally it's going to be golden era, which is kind of my wheelhouse still. I'm still new at it, and but you rarely see anything pre-war. You really hardly see anything kind of oddball or obscure, even for the golden era. It's basically just the standard, vintage, and you rarely even see vintage at shows. In fact, I was telling some guys I went to a show recently, and there's about 100 tables, and I would say 70 were Pokemon,
Yeah.
TCG. That's what
Yeah.
you're getting around here. And then maybe 20 were ultra modern, a lot of Chiefs, a lot of Bobby Witts, a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes around here. And then you have some tables with 3D printed trinkets and things. And there might be a few tables with vintage. But again, it's guys I see at all the shows. So there's nothing new or extraordinary. It's just it's basically what I already had
Yeah.
growing up. So there's nothing really too crazy about it. But John, like you were saying, I started my channel in the end of March in 2025, but I've been watching content since COVID. Like a lot of guys, that's when I really got back into collecting
Mhm.
because it's easy to sit at home and you can get cards on the phone, which is where I have to get a lot of cards that I want is through eBay and stuff. But I've kind
Mhm.
of switched that. going forward just from things. But if you want to blame me, if you guys don't like me, it's blame Chris from Missouri, because he was the one who really influenced me. And the reason for that is he's the closest content creator, him and Billy Ballgame, to me, and they're both over 2 hours. I mean, it's a desert out here. There's not much going on, but I'm telling you, I growing up, I was like the vintage guy for all my friends. I was the one they came to talk to. I know nothing about vintage. It's like you don't know what you don't know. I don't know a lot. So I am in a huge learning phase, and I am so influenced by all of you out there. I'm watching your content, talking to you guys, texting, seeing pictures of things that you guys have picked up or show off. And basically everything I have here, when we get to showing it, everything I have is influenced one way or another by those in the community. So, I hope nobody takes for granted the community that we're in. It's amazing that we bond over pieces of cardboards of guys. And it's very special.
Right.
And out of all the things out there that we could be doing, wasting our time, I mean, I'm having the time of my life. I absolutely love doing this and doing what, one of my goals this year was to get on some collaborations. I just did my first one with a couple of guys that I actually was in charge of, scared to death that I was going to screw it up. And knock on wood, I didn't. We did it all with one take, and which normally my intros takes about 10 different attempts to start, because I always screw up the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
We were talking about all this. We should just save all those and just put this like 30-minute collaboration of everybody screwing up at the beginning. Because I think most people, once you get going, you're fine. It's just starting it off. It's like, oh man, it's crazy.
But you Mikey, you mentioned the influencers that you've people that you've watched and stuff, and I think that term influencer in some cases has a negative connotation, because some within our community, we see an influencer in one sense of, my channel would be, hey, here are the hot new cards, here's what you need to collect, here's the best investment of this, and they're trying to be an influencer. And I think the positive side of the whole influencer is what you're talking about, and going to get into with some examples, are just folks like us and others that just, by talking about their collection and their enjoyment of the cards and their latest pickups or different projects that they're working on, just by you watching them talk about the cards, not promote the cards, not say these are undervalued or these are going to be the best cards for 2026. You look at the cards and go, wow, that's a cool card, or that's a cool project, or this. And I think that's the influencing that we have to support within the community, not those that try to tell us how or what to collect.
Right. And, I think in the vintage community, I don't like to badger on the ultra modern or the other type, because, you don't want to do that divide, but there is a difference between the people who are the breakers, the flippers, and, buy this, invest in that. Most of the guys in the vintage community, we're not like that. We're just like, hey, look at these cards. Aren't these really cool? It's a whole different thing. And maybe influencer is not even the best. Maybe it's inspired. These are the guys who inspire me to. That's a little bit more positive connotation, I would think. But, where I live at, not a lot of vintage. I am a very low budget collector. A lot of the good stuff that I have shown on videos, I've had in my collection for a long time. But once I started watching content for the past couple of years, I've really started picking up some stuff, even before I became a content creator. So I was influenced or inspired by guys even before I became a content creator. But once I really started talking to people and paying more attention, I watch way too many videos. Everything is just different. So, I like I said, I'm having a good time. I'm picking up stuff I didn't know existed. I love seeing a variety of stuff. I collect a variety of cards and items, so I will show some of those today. And again, everything is influenced or inspired by the community as a whole. Specifically, there's certain guys I could say, hey, this came, I was really influenced by this person or that person. But it's in general. It might be a one-off video I watched and somebody had, a card that I really thought was cool. But there's so many things that I get inspired by. So if we want, let's go ahead and start showing some cards.
Because I do want to see, I love it when our guests show off cards and stuff. But do you have do you have a theme, a focus to your collecting? Are there certain things that you again focus on? And the reason I bring this up is the inspiring, as well, using the inspiring, because I do like that better. I've been watching YouTube videos now for 6 years, and trust me, there are cards that people have picked up, and not necessarily expensive card. It could
Right.
be a common card of maybe a Hall of Famer or non-Hall of Famer, nothing big. And I look at it and go, wow, that's a cool card. But
Absolutely.
my problem is, if I go down that rabbit hole, now I'm all over the place,
Right.
because I can be inspired by so many cards out there.
I think we're all like that. I think we all
Yeah.
end up going down these rabbit holes and oh wow, I didn't know about that. Let me check these out. And then you don't finish certain things, and then you got like 15 different sets or ideas or whatever it may be going.
And it's
It's
funny you
very
say
easy to
rabbit
do.
hole, because that's my series that I just started for this year, are guys who are new going down a rabbit hole in the hobby. So that's ironic that you said that. So my collecting focus is I have no focus. And I think a lot of it has to do with the budget limitations that I'm on, where I live at. So I just can't go to a local card shop and find stuff for a local show. So it takes a lot more effort, but I get a kick. I bought some really nice stuff last year in 2025, by far the best year in terms of buying items. And I bought some expensive stuff for me. But I get a kick out of buying, like the $2 or $3 Beta Pinson Post cereal cards. I get a kick out of everything. I get a kick out of watching everybody, whether it's, Tony Southern Collector with the mega $1,000 cards, or, some of my buddies who are just, picking up Carl Erskine cards. I love it. If somebody's happy and I can see they're into it, I'm happy watching it. And so that's kind of how I collect. I do have some things that I do want to focus at. As I'm getting older, I kind of want to, I don't want to burden my wife with a lot of stuff. And I've got so much stuff that I've just saved up over the years. I don't know, what the heck I'm going to do with it all. So I'm definitely going to start narrowing down my focus into certain things. But I don't collect sets. I do player runs, but I'm not a completist. I'll just get the ones that I can afford to get, or that I like to get.
Yeah.
And maybe 5 or 6 cards of a player rather than the whole run. But there's certain guys I do want to get every card that I can possibly get out of. But no, I just like to pick up cards I think look cool, that I like. That's
Good.
my focus. So, but if you want me to go ahead and start
Yeah,
stuff,
let's see some cards that you've been inspired
So
by.
one of the biggest changes for me, because I didn't know these existed, because I never saw them before I started watching YouTube, was oversized. Now, for a lower budget collector, that's a godsend, because you can get quality cards of some of the best players who ever played the game for much cheaper prices than you can for, like the regular issued Gaudies and things like that. But then I also get some cards that are pretty nice. And Don, I know that you're a St. Louis or a Stan Musial guy. So I picked
not St. Louis, but Stan Musial.
Stan Musial, same. No, I collect. It's funny. A lot of my YouTube buddies are from St. Louis area, and they're Cardinals fans, and they give me a hard time because I tell them I am not a Cardinals fan. I don't like the Cardinals, but I love the Cardinals history, because I like baseball history up to '85 when they played my Royals in a World Series.
Yeah.
But I collect a lot of Stan Musial, a lot of Bob Gibson. I love Kim Boyer. Think he should be in the Hall of Fame. So I wanted to start off with a couple that I think Don will like, and you probably have these. I don't know, but this is a 1951 Wheaties Premium Stan Musial.
Yeah, so I don't have that.
Absolutely.
That's one I would love to have. Yeah, that is awesome.
And this is one that was an adventure with PSA authentication or eBay authentication, because when I got it originally, they had cracked it in 2 places. And they couldn't authenticate it because the way that the seller had worded it. I don't know why they didn't know that before.
Right.
Because they don't send it to you nice and secure like they do if it does go through. And so it was heavily damaged. So, but they did me right, and I'm super excited. This is one of my favorite things that I have.
Yeah, that's a great piece. It's funny sometimes when I get a Musial piece.
Go ahead, Don.
No, sometimes when I get a Musial piece, they'll throw random Cardinal cards in with it.
Yeah.
Like if I buy it on eBay, I'm like, what the hell do I do with this?
Right,
Like,
right. That's definitely true. And then another big one I got. This is one of those dinner plates or TV trays. It's a 54 photo pack, all-star photo pack of.
yeah, that one I do have.
Yeah. Again, I love the image on that. Do you know where this is taken at? Because it almost looks like there's a palm tree or something. So I don't know if it's spring training or if it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's spring training. Got mine here.
I absolutely love that. Again, guys that I've seen. Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely spring training. I mean, look at these guys like just standing right there.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking too. But Aaron Value Vintage and Jason Everyday Card Collector. A lot of these things they influenced me. Jason, I think, collects at about the same budget level that I do, so it's pretty cool. In fact, we've got some similar cards. But Stuke's a big exhibit guy, so for a budget guy, I've picked up some exhibits. These are all, I think, 63, 62, or this is 62 stat backs. Ernie Banks. Eddie Matthews is another player I love to collect. And then this guy's been my favorite Hall of Fame candidate since I've been a teenager, and it's Vada Pinson. So
what made you like that of Pinson?
Yeah, so going back to my local card shop, he used to put together what was called bargain boxes, which was just a shoe box, and he'd throw a bunch of like cards from the 60s and 70s in there that were mainly commons and semi-stars. But he'd wrap up like a bundle that were like the better players and the Hall of Famers. And I'm one of those baseball nerds who I'll flip the the back and look at the stats. And I was like, wow, this guy's pretty good. And his name rang a bell. And then I was looking through this Royals book I had. Well, he ended his career with the Royals, which a lot of players seem to do, like Killebrew, Galen Perry. A lot of guys ended their career with the Royals. So I just started researching more and more about him, and I realized, wow, when he retired, he ranked so high on the all-time list in so many categories. And depending, or considering he played in the 60s and the 70s, I mean, his stats are way better than you think, because that was an era of very low offense. So he's always been a favorite of mine. Every once in a while, though, I will go to a show and I'll see something that surprises me. So I picked this up. This is a 1936 R312 pastel of Mickey Cochran, and I got it for like $5. The dealer didn't even know what this was. And I'd seen somebody showed the pastel, and I thought that's what it was. I wasn't sure, but for $5 or $10, whatever it was, I was going to take a chance. But once I got this home and started researching and realized what it was, I started looking to see other players that were in that set. And when I was talking to these guys before that, I went to a show in St. Louis, Missouri, met up with Chris from Missouri. Mike Moynihan came up there. Joe Redneck Collector was there. Ross Loves Cards and some of their friends were there. And when I walked in and I saw the very first table, my mind was blown, because you don't see cards like that in the Kansas City area. And behind the guy I didn't know who he was, behind the guy on the table, just sitting back there with some other stuff he didn't even have in display cases, I saw something and I knew what it was. And I said, can I see that? Well, the dealer happened to be Bill Chappell, which does not come around Kansas City, but he does apparently go around St. Louis. But I picked up, the glare is really bad, but that's a pastel of Johnny Mize. That's a rookie card of Johnny Mize. And I absolutely love this. And, what's cool about the community is everybody's so supportive. And, I'd never met Mike Moynihan. I'd never talked to him. But when we were sitting out in the lobby, because it was in a hotel, after that, he goes, hey, can I take a look at that? So I'm sitting there, starstruck. It's Mike Moynihan, and he's holding my card that I got. And it was just really cool. And a lot of guys that are around people a lot, they're probably laughing at me right now. But when you don't see that, things like that, those moments are super special, super special. That's why I'm so stoked to go to Independence and meet you guys. I'm going to be bouncing off the walls. You may have to sedate me. I'm telling you, I will be so excited.
Yeah, there's going to be more everywhere you turn. It's going to be vintage, vintage.
It's going to be crazy. And then, some other oversized, I'll just run through these really quick. There's a 1937 Wheaties Series 6 DiMaggio. What's funny about this was I was coming back from a show, I think it was in Columbia, where I'd met up with Chris from Missouri and some other collectors, and Jason Everyday Card Collector, I think, was on with Sammy Thunder, saying somebody had bought this and he had been looking at it for 3 months or so. And somebody bought it and he was disappointed because it was a good price and he didn't know if he would see one in this nice condition again. and it was me. So, and literally, I had looked at this for a couple of hours, and I snagged
A
it.
couple hours.
Couple of hours. So, early bird catches the worm. It did not necessarily because he didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah,
And
he
then he
didn't
actually
jump.
bought one of these as well. And the one that he bought, I didn't have the orange border on there. And he said, "Hey, there's one on eBay." And I didn't have a Plain Days Charlie Garinger, who I think is a great, great player. So I went on because Jason was saying there was one for sale, and I snagged this one, for me. So pumped up to have that one. Another Jason and Aaron was I got a Butterfinger of Jimmy Fox, and this is the one with 1X. And I've heard people say that these are super thin. They're not lying. These things these are like super. And what it came in, I had the hardest time getting it out to put it in a better top loader. The one they had was all scratched. But I mean, I just love the images on these, and for the price for these type of things. I mean, for a 37 Joe DiMaggio, you're not going to get it for, for this is way cheaper than a Gaudy. It's not even comparable. And same with the Fox. I mean, if you're a budget collector, this is the way to go. I mean, I just, you get such great images for such great values. And then
what year was that Fox?
The Fox, I think this is a 34 R310, I think is what this one is. Yeah. But I love this. I love that stuff. I love those images. And another YouTube influence was this wonderful 38 Dixie Lid Premium of Bob Feller. I mean, look at that image. That is beautiful.
What is that, Mike?
This is a 1938 Dixie Lid Premium. They don't have there's not a lot of guys. Now, as you can see, somebody put a couple extra hole punches in there, which made it cheaper, I'm sure.
Right.
But to me, a flaw is a flaw. I would rather have a couple little hole punches way over here than a crease right across his face. But
you know what? Like, I was never a big pinhole guy, but I was watching your top 25 rookies and that Koufax you had. I was like, oh my God, that card is amazing for a one.
And it, when I got that, it was before I joined the community. I loved it because I knew I could afford that Koufax.
Right.
And I had a hard time. That guy had to point it out because it was so dark in that show. I didn't even see what it was, but I had to get that one. I just had to snag that. That's one of my favorite cards in my collection. I showed
that premium there that it came with 2 holes, but someone else put 2 more.
Yeah. So I mean, and you can see it came with this hole and this hole. So I don't know how they actually came in, and the backs are really cool too because you can see his pitching motion. Yeah. And I've seen some guys, like I said, I had never heard of these. I mean, all this stuff that I'm showing, I didn't even know they existed until I started watching YouTube content. So yeah, and then I a baseball history guy, and early last year, right before I started making content, I'd seen people show these, but I'd never seen one, maybe a few times around the Kansas City area in my life. But I wanted to get a Joe Jackson, and there's no way somebody on my budget is ever going to get a Plain Days card of shoeless Joe Jackson. That's just not in the cards for me. But a dealer that I've known for a while, I went to a show, and he just happened to have this in his case, and I literally, my mouth dropped. I couldn't believe it. And I asked him how much he wanted for it, and I didn't have that much money. It was way beyond my normal budget, but I was like calculating, okay, I can use my budget for the next couple of months and get this. And he gave me a great price, and he's become a friend too. But it's the 1914 B18 blanket of shoeless Joe Jackson.
Wow. So,
and these things have jumped up quite a bit, way more than I paid for this, since he's now eligible to be into the Hall of Fame. So I couldn't afford to get this now. And I think they all come, if you grade them, they all say authentic, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But how much they are now, it would be my big ticket item. So it would be hard for me to get. I shouldn't say I couldn't get it. It would just take a big crunch.
I heard they did a movie about him.
Do what?
I said, I heard they did a movie about him.
Yeah, I think there's a book and a movie, and a couple movies with him. There's something like he's a ghost wandering around or something.
But I have 2 of those blanks. I think Rick Vintage Oddball cards. I want to say way back when I first got on YouTube, he was doing some contest, and I think it was Rick.
And Mangini too.
And I won one of his giveaways and stuff. And I think it was just one blanket. I forget who it is now. It's not one of the the big Hall of Famers, but it's pretty cool.
Well, guys like Mangini, when I started watching content years ago, sometimes I'd go back and watch some of the earlier stuff just to see what I missed. And Mangini had a really good video about that. And I think he's done one fairly recently within the last year where he showed like a picture of all the blankets sewn together. That's why they called them the blankets to begin with, is people
Oh,
would sew
okay.
them together and make blankets out of them. So
Yep.
those little things like that is so inspiring
I didn't know
by
that.
members of the community to see that stuff. Another thing I really got into because I'd never seen one, didn't know they existed, were polar bears. So I started picking up a few polar bears now and then. So I've just brought some down here. So the very first one I think I got, believe, nope, it wasn't that one. It's this one. Hall of Famer. It's Vic Willis. And the polar bear, if you're not familiar with them, unlike the other T206s, these were actually put in with the scrap tobacco. So it's really next to impossible to find one of these that doesn't have some type of tobacco stain. And I should have taken a little plastic cover off. There's a little bit of stain there, but the backs are normally just tortured. But this back is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And I got this as much for the back as the front, which is probably makes me a super nerd. But I've picked up a few more. I got this guy, Arlie Latham, one of the best nicknames ever. The freshest man on the earth, I think, it was his nickname. He was a handful. I didn't know why they called him that until I started reading when I was a kid, and just remembering that name, I was like, well, I want to get one of these cards. I mean, they changed rules because of this guy. He's such a pest out on the field. And I never know how to pronounce this guy's name right. It's Gavi Kravath or Kravith. Hit a lot of home runs, but the park that he played in helped. But again, these are all polar bear backs, and they're just really cool. So
yeah, the polar bears are my. I don't own any polar bear back T206s, but that's my favorite back. There's just something about that dark blue, and it's just. Or is it black blue?
It's kind of a dark navy blue, kind of almost like a midnight blue, and they're not the most rare either, so they're still pretty affordable.
Okay.
I also I like watching guys show cards of like near Hall of Famers or should be Hall of Famers, so I do collect guys like that. So this isn't a polar bear back, but this is Sherry McGee, who I think should be in the Hall of Fame. Love that image on that card. Absolutely love that. And then one of my favorite guys to collect. Who's never had a bad year in his career, and he didn't start playing until he was 27, was in the major leagues, is Bob Johnson, who was Native American or partly Native American. He was called Cherokee Bob or Indian Bob. But, I try to collect as many of his cards. I think this is his rookie, believe it or not. So I love collecting cards of guys like that. And here's one that shocked me. The guy that I bought that B14 blanket, I went to a show not very long ago, and he had this in his display case. And you guys will probably know more about it than me, but I had to do some research to even figure out what it was. But it's a 1913 Colgan Chips tin top of Rube Marquardt. Now, it's got some issues.
Right.
I've never in my life seen one of these in the Kansas City area ever. And I think he sold it to me for $20.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it didn't even fit in with what he had, but if he bought a collection, this happened to be in it. And I was like, well, heck, I'll spend
$20. Right.
Yeah. No doubt. Strip cards. A lot of people show strip cards. I'm not a big fan of strip cards that are the cartoons because they have lipstick and they just don't look right.
I'm 100% with you on those. I don't like
but
those.
I do like the strip cards that have pictures. So here's the glare is really bad down here, but there's a Grover Cleveland Alexander. That's technically, I believe, a strip card. And let me look at that one. 1923 W572 hand cut. I'll take those strip cards all day long, because it's an actual picture. But yeah, some of them look really bad. I think the Sporting Life cards look really cool, so I've picked up a couple of those.
Oh yes, that's a beautiful set.
Now he's not a great player, but he does have an interesting story. And I'm one of the things I'm going to do this year is do more videos about guys who have some type of an interesting story, because I have a ton of cards. Because I picked up that, cards like that all throughout my collecting career. If I read about somebody in a book when I was a kid, I'd want to get a card of theirs. So, and the backs of these are just really cool.
Yeah,
I just love those. Another guy I read about when I was a kid, and I saw one of my buddies show this card on one of his videos, and I was shocked. I never got this because one of the first baseball books I read when I was about 10 had a story about this guy, and it's Pete. I think it's Reiser or Reiser. I never pronounced that right. You never hear his name in Kansas, but I just had to snag this card once I saw it, and I can't believe I'd never had that. that card. So it's just a really cool card. He was a flash in the pan, came up, had a meteoric rise, and then injuries. The guy played all out, crashing into the walls, got hurt all the time. So yeah, it's one of those things where you know what could have been type of a deal. I've seen guys on YouTube. Drew Clean Cheap Shots did the video. In fact, I watched yours today, Don. You Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I saw you commented on it. Yeah.
Kansas sucks. We have Walter Johnson. So good. I mean, maybe all we need is Walter Johnson. I don't know.
There you go.
2 Hall of Famers, Walter Johnson and Joe Tinker, who, without that poem, he's not in the Hall of Fame. That's about it. And then you go down to Johnny Damon. Ooh, that's pretty sad. And then this is probably the 4th best guy. And so I picked up a card because I wanted to get some guys from Kansas or born in Kansas. George Grantham. He actually was a pretty good ball player, nowhere near a Hall of Famer, but I mean, he's probably 4th best. That's pretty sad. Walter Johnson, Joe Tinker, not Johnny Damon. Now, Johnny Damon, I could throw left-handed better than him, and I'm a right-handed thrower. He had no arm, but he was a good player. But, I watched what Don was showing today, and it's some of my all-time favorite players. And if I was a kid, or if I had a kid that was going to be a Major League Baseball player, I wanted him to be, I would drive to Denora and have him drink some water. Because, that's just amazing.
If you ever saw Denora, you wouldn't let your kid anywhere near the water there. Unfortunately, it's an old mill town, and it's the main street's all boarded up now, and it's pretty depressed.
Oh, that is pretty sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been watching some of those. I've not done that video because I'm like, I wouldn't even want to watch that. The guy from Kansas, I wouldn't want to watch that at all.
I did it more to, first of all, I didn't know what the gifts were until I made it. Right. And I saw that it was Reindeer Studios gift cards, and I don't want any of his shit. I'm just kidding.
Good segue. So, that, I got the hat. I bought a lot of shirts. I bought a Mean Genie shirt, but I don't know if you guys knew this. Do you guys ever watch his artwork that he does?
Oh, I have a ton of it back here. I'm good friends with him. I'm just teasing him.
I knew you were. But I was watching, like everybody else, the video, and there's one that blew my mind, and I was like, that's not really what I collect, but I have different stuff. It's Walter Johnson, and I bought it. I'm going to pick it up at Independence because I want to pick it up with all of you guys because it's just going to make it that much more.
Those I've seen those in person that he made. They're amazing. Oh, and they're kind of like
it's beautiful.
I can't do this right. He made me this there, which is a Clementi Musial, which is the pieces all put together.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was texting my buddies again. I collected on an island for 40 years. Nobody collected vintage. None of my friends collected vintage when I was growing up. So just getting in this community and being able to talk, we communicate texting all the time on Discord. Now there's a big Discord thing. I think, John, I think you're part of that. And, I had to turn my phone on silent at work now because it all day long. So I'm like, you gotta be careful with that. But it's such a cool experience. And I'm jealous of the guys back east because you guys get to go to shows and see great cards and hang out with 10 guys at a show, and we just don't get that in my area. So
we are fortunate here. I mean, it's funny, the Independence show, the first year that I went to it, it was myself, Scott, Reindeer Studios, and I don't know if you know Dean Gearhart. I collect everything. He's got a great channel. It was literally the 3 of us, and Enough Said Cards was there, and Josh Stoudemire, and that was it from YouTube.
And that was
about 5.
Are you talking about the early Strongsville?
Yeah.
I heard.
Well, it wasn't even early Strongsville because it's been around for I think 40, 50 years.
But for the YouTube guys showing up, I think.
What, Don? That would probably have been about maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, somewhere in that time frame. And then Chris came up with us, and Steven and Mike from Canada came down. And then once Chris saw it, then Chris blew it up. So
it was funny because this is my first year going, and I get on the chats with these guys. When I say chats, we get online like once a week. Sometimes some of us get on more where we just do little online chats. And I told Chris and those guys, I'm like, man, I'm going for the first time, and I'm afraid that something's going to happen. It's not going to be the same. lo and behold, they're not even having it there. And, a lot of people gave some of us who are disappointed some pushback for being disappointed. And I'm disappointed because I don't get to experience that vintage only show because you don't see vintage around here at all. But the main reason to go is the people. So
It is.
Yeah.
And I
And
put
I
a
thought
comment.
someone said that the vintage is in one room and the other stuff's in the
Supposedly
other.
they're putting a curtain. Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But
But
If there's a curtain, I mean, to me, you're amongst friends just hanging out, and
it's
you're still,
yeah, you're
as
not
long as
gonna
you
care.
stay on the one side of the curtain. I don't see it being any different. Now, the closeness to the hotel and all that, yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be different, and not a whole lot of people like change. But I think once you get inside, I think all that stuff is just going to go away.
Well, even the
And
move to the ice rink was a change. The first 2 years I went,
Yeah.
it was in
In the hotel.
in the hotel, and then they moved it across the street to the ice rink.
Yeah.
So
Well, what's kind of interesting about it is, Strongsville happened right after I became a content creator. So of course, when I became a content creator, I'm paying more attention to the different channels and stuff, and subscribing and watching more videos. So I watched all the Strongsville content, the floor videos, the trade night, the get-togethers. I watched all of it. I knew like maybe 10 people, but about a month ago, I started rewatching those, and it's like, wow, like the people walking back, I know almost, so many of the people, all the people in the trade line, I know almost all of them. Not know who they are, I should say. So it's pretty excited to go. And I think a lot of this, once we realize, yeah, it's not going to be the same thing. It's still going to be special. It's still going to be all,
You're right, Mike. You're absolutely. It'll be special. It's I go up purely to see the people at this point because I don't buy a lot of stuff anymore.
right. No, I am trying
like
to
last year. I bought one thing, and I purely go to see my friends that I've made in this community. And you'll see the same thing. You've met a few of us. When I say us, I mean Chris and Mike
Sure.
and those guys. But and you'll find out that the people that you see on their videos are just like they are in person.
I love the picture of you guys sitting out smoking stogies. I mean,
I was just gonna say, Don, we need to start scoping out to see if there's a cigar bar nearby.
Oh no, we're going to the same place. That sandwich shop is a tradition. We've gone there 3 years in a row. We can't mess with that.
Okay, well,
So
that'd
we'll
be
find
what,
it.
about a half-hour drive?
I don't
20
know.
minute? 20 minutes?
Yeah, we'll let Scott figure that out.
Right.
But I didn't look at their website lately. But John and I used to be on the main page. There's a shot of people collecting. There's a picture of John and I.
Well, I
looking
keep
at
going on.
cards.
I signed up
The
for the
promo picture it was for last year's Strongsville on the website. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see that, because when I started watching it, the very first episode I rewatched, it was Garrett, and
Card cutter.
and the very first person I saw was Jay Average Vintage Collector. Now, when I watched it back in the spring of last year, I had no idea who he was, but right off the bat, I see Jay Average Vintage Collector right there. I'm like, oh, this is so cool, and I just started watching it and just got a kick out of seeing everybody on there.
I get you guys confused because of your name.
Yeah,
with the J in it.
A lot of people think my name
now?
is Jayhawker, but it's
Right.
actually the Kansas Jayhawks. And
Right.
Jayhawker is a term for free state people who fought against the the border ruffians from Missouri, the evil slave people down there. So I give Missouri guys a hard time. But just some other stuff real quick. Like I started seeing some cards that are not pre-war; they're golden era, but I didn't know existed. And I saw somebody had a dandy card, and they were talking about how they're in potato chips, and you can't hardly ever find them in good shape. And I'll take this out so you can actually see it. I've shown this on my channel a million times, but it's in an old slab, and I don't care about the slab.
No, I don't.
The card is
someone on this show does, but
yeah. I have SGC, PSA. I even got some other ones, but I mean these cards normally have potato chip stains all over them. And this card is beautiful.
Oh, that is clean.
It is nice.
And Duke Snyder is one of my favorite guys to collect. I've been going on a Duke Snyder run, so to speak, even on a true run. But I think I'm going to pick him up because at that St. Louis show where I got that Johnny Mize, I'll just leave this one in here. Tim Payne, who also I think sets up at Strongsville, was there. And I got my Snyder rookie. And for a 2.5, That thing is beautiful. There's a,
Oh
it's
yeah.
just, I absolutely love. I'm a big centering guy. Centering is first and
Yep.
foremost for me,
Yep.
and then maybe registration. But I'll take a good center card with maybe some, a little bit of bad, crease or something. Like this has a couple little creases, but nothing bad. But I mean, it's a nice, clean card.
Wow.
And what's funny about this is, I saw this the first day on a Saturday, and I spent the night at the hotel there, and I didn't get it because I'd already blew my money that I already had. And also from Tim Payne, I got this Campanella, which was one of the best cards.
That's on
Yeah,
my
that's a
list.
great card.
And this one I actually bundled with Ross from Ross Loves Cards. He got a Larry Doby. I think it was a 5.5. Just beautiful. And we were trying, it was Ross's idea. He's like, well, let's bundle this together and see if he'll get us a better price. Well, he didn't go down very much at all, a little bit. But between that and the Mize, I pretty much had blown my money that I was going to spend, but I could not get the Snyder out of my mind. So Ross and Joe Redneck Collector and we went out to eat after the show, and Mike and Chris, or Mike was only up there. He was leaving. So they weren't there as long, and they weren't going to be there the next day, but we went out to eat, and we were just talking live, talking cars for like 2.5, 3 hours, just having a great time. And I could not get the Snyder off my mind. So I went back the next day because I spent the night there right when the show opened, and Joe was going to come there and meet me. And I went to Tim Payne's case, and I looked down and I didn't see it because I woke up in the middle of the night thinking, okay, if I'm waking up dreaming about this card, it's mine. I need to get it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't see it. So I was like, oh, the Gil Hodges somehow was laying on top of it. And I realized that there's another card on top of it. So I looked real close, and I'm like, oh, it's still there. I asked him to give me a little bit of a deal, and that's all he gave me was a little bit of a deal.
Yeah, Tim, that's about all you get from him.
But I absolutely love this. I had this card sitting next to me from the 4.5 hour drive back from St. Louis, and I just kept picking it up and looking at it. Surprised I didn't wreck. But it's just, I've said this on the video, and I've changed the way I want to collect the bigger items because I don't like dealing with the taxes and the stress of, is my card going to get to me? Is it going to look as good as it looks online? And so I made a decision, did a video about this. I'm not buying up any big cards, big for me, online anymore. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to do it in person with my hobby buddies because that was the best time I've ever had in my life in the hobby. And it'll be a rare enough thing for me that it'll keep me disciplined. I can't just go out and spend a lot of money. I got to save up for the bigger cards like I'm doing. I haven't bought a card for a while, and I'm not buying a card until Independence. All my buddies are buying stuff online still, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. Normally I'm not that disciplined, but I have been because I do have some big cards. I'm going to buy the biggest card, hopefully, that I ever had by far when I get to Independence. I'm not flexing because I don't have the money to do that, but I want this first experience to be special for me. The next years, I may not buy anything. I might just go to show and hang out with people. But I just,
I'm like you with the budget, and I save up.
Yeah.
Or like you said, you're saving up for Independence. My big show is the National. I do save up. I'll have a small little budget for Independence, but that one's mainly hanging out with fellow YouTubers and stuff. So I don't go for big cards there. But when I'm thinking of spending more than $200-300, I'm gonna touch not say touch the card, touch the slab. At least I want to look at it. I want to hold it up. I want to see, okay, yeah, there's a crease, but it's minor. I only see it if you turn it a certain way. You can't always get that depending on how well the picture is.
Absolutely.
On say the eBay listing. And if I'm going to be spending $300, $400, $500, $1,000, I want the card to speak to me. I want to be able to look at it, or maybe look at 2 examples, or 3 examples, depending on what the card is, and then go, well, maybe it's that. Nope, that's the one. Or the surprise of walking by and having a somewhat list, and then you see something that is sort of on your list but wasn't a priority, and you see the perfect example. And that's happened twice for me with the 48 Bowman Stan Musial and the 59 Bob Gibson rookie. They're on my list to eventually get. Didn't think I was going to pick them up when I did, but when I saw them in the display cases, I'm like, they said, take me home.
Absolutely.
And take me home.
I can't find a better I don't care what grade is that. Those cards are perfect for me, and I wouldn't have been able to do that through eBay. It just wouldn't have felt the same.
And
So
it's
John,
one of those things
before
where
I stop you guys, we're 50 minutes in and we haven't done a trivia question yet. And then
Oh.
I'll get back to you there,
I
Mike. I
do
didn't
have
mean
a
to.
trivia question, but you
I have
sounds
one
like
as
you
well.
have
Well,
one.
I have a top 10 again
Okay.
all right.
with this. And this list was made in 1994 by Tom Seaver. And it's his top 10 pitchers of all time, in his opinion.
Okay.
But he doesn't include himself. And how many do you guys think you can name?
Well, I'm glad it's 1994 because when I stopped really hardcore collecting, I just stopped paying attention to baseball. And so I'm
These are all
So this will be
vintage
good.
guys.
So
Yeah.
They're all
Seaver,
what?
In Tom Seaver's opinion, these were the top 10 best pitchers of all time.
Mathewson.
Yes, he had
Walter
him number
Johnson.
2. He had him number 1.
Sorry, who did you say?
He had him number 3.
Who was the first one, Mike?
Walter Johnson.
Oh, Walter
Christy
Johnson.
Mathewson and Koufax.
Warren Spahn.
Number 9.
I wonder if he picked his old teammate Nolan. I doubt it, but maybe he did. Nolan.
He did. Number 10.
Okay. Bob Gibson.
Number 8. John, you can jump in anytime here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said
no, I'm kidding because he never knows.
I have Christy Mathewson.
I'm teasing you.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of guys that we didn't do.
You got 4 guys left.
Lefty Grove.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to get that.
Wow. Yeah,
See, Don? Just give me a little bit of time, and then I'll come through.
I'm trying to think. Would he go contemporary, or would he go guys that played before him?
Bob Feller.
Yep, number 6. Got 2 guys left. 1 contemporary and 1 before him.
Jim Palmer.
Nope.
Okay, good, because I wouldn't pick him either. 1 contemporary to him. Jenkins.
Nope.
Oh, Carlton.
Yes.
Okay. Steve
okay.
Carlton.
Number 7.
So there's one that's
so
not
number 5 you don't have.
Carl Hubble.
No.
Trying to think, would it be way back?
Yeah. Not way forward.
Alexander.
No.
Oh.
Not Grover Cleveland Alexander.
Nope. And not Whitey Ford. Good guesses.
You said Feller already.
Yep.
He didn't go Negro League and say Satchel Paige, did he?
No.
So
that's a good guess though, but no.
If you could narrow it down, I bet I could snag it. It's a starting pitcher, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Pre-1950?
Yes.
Dizzy Dean.
No. Good guess. You hear his name a lot towards the end of the baseball season.
Oh,
Cy Young.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have, and hope this one I may have to give some hints because some of them.
I was gonna say if it's really contemporary, man, I'm gonna be.
No.
Yeah,
this is from the 50s.
Okay.
The top 10 players with the most hits in the 1950s. So from 1950 to 1959, combination of both leagues, the top 10 players with the most hits in that decade.
Musial.
Yep.
Musial is number 3.
Mantle
is not on the list.
Willie Mays.
Yes, I was going to go.
Willie Mays is not on the list.
Oh, so
for the hits. Duke Snyder.
Duke Snyder is number 5 with 1,605. Musial had 1,771 in the 50s.
Yeah, I think like Banks and Aaron, they came.
Yeah, they came up in the middle.
Yeah,
well, because they started in 54. Yeah,
right.
So, let's see.
It's going to be somebody that we're not even thinking of that would have played.
Pee Wee
Throughout
Reese.
this video,
Richie
I
Ashburn.
don't think any of the names have been mentioned yet.
Richie
Ashburn. Some of the cards you've shown off and stuff. Okay. This is the 50s.
So I'll say Richie Ashburn.
Richie Ashburn is number 1, 1,875 hits.
Okay. I was going to say it's going to be ones that you wouldn't think of.
Let's see.
How about Pee Wee Reese?
Pee Wee Reese, no, but a teammate of his.
Campanella,
Nope.
Hodges.
Hodges. Gil Hodges is number 10,
I would never have guessed Gil Hodges.
1,491. Now we have a dreaded St. Louis Cardinal in addition to Musial.
Red
Enos
Chain
Slaughter.
Beats.
What?
I said Enos Slaughter.
No.
He
Red
said
Chain
Red
Beats.
Chain.
Red Shane Deese, number 8.
Yeah.
1,517 hits.
I just happen to have a autographed Red Chain Beats sitting right here.
Oh, nice.
Kind of inspired me to think of
So
him.
we have, let's see, there's 2 players that I think are going to be really, really difficult
What
for you to
about
get.
what about somebody like Pete Runnels or Billy Goodman?
Nope.
Nellie Fox.
Nellie Fox
Yeah.
is probably a good one.
Oh, Don, there's the guy at number 6 played, I forget how many years in the 50s, but played for your Pirates and also the Cincinnati Reds during the 1950s.
Pirates and the Reds.
And I don't think this is the father of a later former major leaguer, but they have
Gus
the same
Bell?
Gus Bell.
Wow.
Yeah, he actually is Buddy Bell's dad.
Yeah.
Okay. All
And
right.
David Bell's grandpa, right?
So
Yeah.
Gus Bell was number 6 with 1,551. We have one of the greatest catchers of all time on the list.
Yogi?
Yogi is number 9 at 1,499. We still have number 2, number 4, and number 7. Number
Williams?
7, I
missed
believe,
too much
was a
time.
former Negro League player. I think.
Larry Doby?
No.
Nah, he wouldn't play.
I think he was. I'm not 100% sure on his history, but I think so.
So many people in the 50s either started their career or ended their career like in the
I
middle.
know.
So it's tough.
I got to cheat here.
He has, Don, he has a really great looking 53 Bowman card.
Minnie Minoso.
Yes. Was he in Negro League or not?
He was in Cuban League, I know for sure.
Okay.
I
may have missed it, but Minnie Minoso is number 7.
I would never
with
guessed him.
1,526. The one that's really going to be hard is number 4, played for the Giants and Cardinals during the 50s. I've never heard of him. I'll just
Bonnie
say
Irvin?
Alvin Dark.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I never heard of him. He's number 4.
He was a manager too. I think the
1,675.
Padres.
Okay. So we have 1 player left. Number 2.
Wow. It's going to be somebody I'm going to kick myself for not knowing.
He is done. You did your, I think the Mount Rushmore for Pennsylvania for players.
Yes.
He's a Hall of Famer from South Central Pennsylvania, and I know that because my former boss.
I think I said this already. Nellie Fox.
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
Said him?
Yeah, you missed it.
Yeah. I was probably
missed
talking
it.
over him. Yeah, he
All
did
right.
say Nellie Fox. Yeah.
But I'm sorry, your former boss, what?
Okay, yeah, I missed it. Yeah. So those are all 10.
Nice. Well, that was tough. I watched some of the other ones, like the top, 20 home run hitters or all this. I'm like, I'm breezing through those.
Yeah.
But when you said 50s, I'm like, oh my gosh, the 50s for most hits. And it's like, that's a tough decade because you got guys who were in the war, in the Korean War, and the guys who started their career and ended their career.
Yeah, I mean, you got Banks and Clemente and
K-Line,
K-Line, all in the middle.
Yeah,
all
in the middle.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Same with Aaron,
Williams,
Hank
but he
Aaron.
lost some years to the war, and
I can't believe Willie Mays wasn't in there. That one shocked me.
Yeah. I'm surprised considering who was on there. Who like Gil Hodges was known for power, but not for getting a lot of hits.
Right.
So that was pretty interesting to see.
Alvin Dark would never got him. So Mike, I saw in your video in Enos Slaughter, it was a black and white card.
I got it right here.
Yeah, what set is that?
So this is a 1941 W754. This was a team issued, and I got this. Because I have to. I traveled to Oklahoma City to meet up with Rusty Vintage Cards, and there's an old guy from Dallas who was there, and he had a whole bunch of these lined up in his display case this way, not this way. They were lined up like this. And I was looking, obviously, I asked him what they were, and I'll show you the back here. And this one I probably should get graded because it's in beautiful shape.
Yeah,
But
it is.
I asked him about this, and he he didn't know the definition, but he knew what they were, a team set. But I was looking for a musial. He said there was a musial, but he didn't have one. I was like,
Well, that's what I was going to ask you if
There's
there was
not.
one.
There's not a
I
musial.
didn't think so, because that would have been so early in his career.
I saw one that I thought was a musial. It was Lon Warnicki. I wish I would have bought that. And I was looking for a Johnny Mize. There is a Johnny Mize. He did not have one. But I got this for a steal. When I got this back to the hotel and started looking up how much these are worth, I was like, wow. Because I got this, and then he also had the box they came in.
Oh,
and
yeah, you didn't show that before.
that's cool.
So what's cool, you can barely see. I mean, this was actually got the stamp, so it was mailed to somebody. You can kind of read who it is. I can't down here in the dark, but I asked him, hey, and he had this box sitting next to this, and of course I looked out all the stuff, and I asked him, hey, well, how much for the box? And he goes, well, I don't really want to sell that. I only have one. I'm like, no, you don't. You got another one on this other display case right next to it. He didn't even know he had it. I kind of felt bad for the guy. He wasn't all there.
Why do you have it in the display case if you don't want to sell it?
I don't know. But so I think I got this, and I got this, and he threw in a 64 mantle coin, Topps coin that's beautiful, and it had $30 on it. I think I got all of it for like $80.
Wow.
Now, I'd already blown all my money when I was down there, and in fact, I blew all my money other than this before Rusty even got there, because I'm an early bird. So I had to sit there because his wife was helping him, and I did Venmo, and I had to sit there in front of his display cases for 30 minutes waiting for her to come back from getting him lunch. And he kept forgetting who I was. He would come up to me and goes, can I help you with anything? I'm like, no, I'm still waiting for your wife to get back, and so I can buy that card. I mean, he
Oh,
I don't
wow.
think he was all there. And Joe, I don't know who this is. Aaron's friend and Jason Everyday Card Collector's friend, Joe, I think Rosen. He called me. He got their number because he saw my video where I had those, and he asked me about the guy. And I was like, I don't remember his name, but then I remember I Venmo'd him. So I went back through my Venmo and I got that because he was wanting to get some of those cards. And so, yeah, again, one of those things without the community, I wouldn't even have that in my collection. So another thing, I'll just show a few last things. A lot of people don't like these, but I love relic cards of vintage players. Now, I've just recently showed a bunch of them on a different live stream. So I'm not going to show, I'll show one of those because it's probably my favorite one, but this is a vintage card that has all three of them have the stripe, the Maggio Garrigan mantle. Absolutely love that one.
Wow.
That's one of my favorites. And then I had to show, I showed a Jackie on that other video, but I have this one too, which I did not show on that recent one.
That's nice.
And then I got one. This is a 101, and I know Don will like this because it is one of my favorite players. It's a Stan the Man.
Very
I
nice.
know it's manufactured scarcity, but I don't care. I would have got it if it was one of 30, but this is a 101. So just all these things that I showed, so one way or another were influenced. Like the autographs, I'm not an autograph guy, but I picked up that red Shane Deeds, and I picked up some.
And he had a great signature too.
Yeah. And even some
and Garinger, who you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Charlie Garinger has. I want to get an autograph just because it's so good. But just random stuff. Mangini was talking about some football guys, and he showed Steve Van Buren, who's a great running back. I'm like, I'd like to have a Steve Van Buren, so I picked up a Leaf Steve Van Buren. I grew up watching golf. I'm good at putt, but I'm terrible at golf. So I just picked up a random. I don't even know what the heck this is. Jack Nicklaus, Venno, something or other. I don't know. Brenner Randless. It's not anything expensive, but it's a Jack.
Okay, so it's a little character drawing of Jack Nicklaus. Yeah. Okay.
So they're neat little cards. And then going back to reading stories about guys, I used to read about basketball. My mom was a great basketball player, and I remember Bob Pettit. I read a book about him, so I picked up a Bob Pettit card.
Hey, Louis Hawks.
And somebody else had this card on a video. I'm like, those things it reminds you of things that you read in the past or experienced in the past. And so, influenced, inspired, whatever you want to call it. I'm having the time of my life doing this, and I'm
awesome.
Super stoked to meet everybody because this, I will never take it for granted because I can't. I can't just hop in a car in 30 minutes, hang out with a bunch of YouTubers or even guys. You know, I met Chris's friend Tom a few times, and Tom's a great guy. He doesn't make videos,
I
but I
know Tom.
actually have,
Yeah.
yeah, Tom's a great guy. And I've actually, there's another guy, Ryan's Bullpen Sports Cards. He's from Kansas, another Kansas, but he's like 2.5 hours from me. It's like I'm on an
Wow.
island still, but with technology, I'm not. So I'm having a
Right.
great time. And like I said, I would go to Independence if I had a nickel just to meet up with everybody. But this one's going to be special. I've saved up. I've sold some cards that I just didn't fill my collection, or I had doubles or triples up. I actually did a sale through a video. I'm like, hey, Strongsville or bust, and I put a bunch of cards on. I think I put 28 cards on, thinking I might sell 10. I sold all but 5.
Oh,
So
well.
that's my war chest. That and some other money I saved for Independence. So I should get a card that will blow anything I've ever bought in terms of value. I've said this before. I'm different than most collectors. That once I get a card, I don't care about the future value.
Yep.
Most of my cards I got before I met my wife. She's just going to get, when she sells these things, she's just going to get a nice little purse full of money.
Yeah.
But value matters to me when I buy a card because I'm on a limited budget. But once I get it, I'm just having fun with it. I'm not worried about it. If the cards go down to, some people are afraid they're going to go down to nothing. We've got bigger problems on our hand than whatever
True.
the card
That is
are worth. So I'm just enjoying it. You know, I just love this hobby. It's a great experience. The community is great, and I'm excited. 2026 is going to be a fun year. I may not buy as many cards, but I'm going to get a couple special cards, hopefully, at
But
Independence.
the special cards are I like having a collection of cards that may not have a meaning for why I bought them. Like, oh, well, I have a special attachment or something about this particular player or card, but it's the memory of getting the card, where I was, who I was
Right.
with, and the fact
Absolutely.
that, and it, again, I usually only attend Strongsville, Independence, and the National. Those are the ones that I really only get to. And so it's the cards that I pick up at those shows because one, I sacrifice by saving up for an entire 12 months. As soon as the one show ends, I'm saving up for the next year's
Right.
show, whether it be Strongsville or the National. And so that's my time to get bigger cards based on
Mhm.
my budget. And
Right.
so one, it's the sacrifice and saving to be able to get the card, but then being around friends, being in that special moment, and in some cases finding a card that I didn't think I would, or even if it's getting the card that I wanted to get at the National, the Aaron rookie, and so again, I'm like you. I care about what it's worth when I spend money on it because I want to buy the nicest card for the least amount of money.
Right.
Um, and then after I own it, I'm just so happy I own it, whether it goes up 5 times, 5x or drops by 75%. It's
Right.
the card that
Yeah.
yeah. So
And like I
I'm
said,
right with you there.
and I'll tell you so I have compiled a list of cards now. When I was first, of course, I did the video, the top 10 cards I want in my collection, my lifetime type of thing. And I've got a couple of, I bought a couple of them already. One was the Snyder rookie. Um, but I've compiled a list now. When I first put this list together and was thinking about, I've been thinking about most of these cards for years. Well, just in the last 3 or 4 years, the prices of these have just skyrocketed. But I'll tell you the kind of the ones that I'm looking for. The T206 Walter Johnson portrait, Kansas born. I'm from Kansas. And what I plan on doing, I don't know if you saw this video, but when I went to that show in Oklahoma City, Ross Loves Cars, he wasn't there, but he goes, hey, on your way back to Kansas, go to Commerce and go to Mickey Mantle's boyhood home where he
Mm,
learned how to switch hit because the tin barn is still there. Well, I
yeah.
bought a mantle down there and I brought a mantle with me, the very first mantle I ever got. But it was so surreal because I put those cards up next to the barn, just sat them there touching the barn. Well, I put them on
Oh, you could go up to the barn.
yeah,
Okay.
the house is this there, and you can't go inside the house. The house looks like a Monopoly house. It's tiny.
Mm,
But I read Mickey Mantle is my dad's favorite player, so I love to collect Mantle stuff. And but I remember reading, the stories about him. His grandpa threw left-handed, so Mickey would bat right-handed, and his dad threw right-handed, and Mickey would bat left-handed. And
Oh,
you
that's
can
crazy.
actually see the dents on that
mm,
tin barn where he would miss, and the balls would just keep pounding. So
mm.
there's a section you can think of a little kid, and you can see the dents on there. It's rusted out, but you can still see it. But
Yeah.
I stood there with goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps right now just talking about. Stood there. I mean, I look like a dork. I'm out there with the batting stance, left hand and right hand. But I'm looking at that house. I knew they had a system where, like, if it was a ground ball up to the house below the window, it was a single. If it was above the window, it was a double. If it hit the roof, a triple. Over the house, obviously, was a home run. It's just a surreal thing. So what I'm planning on doing with that Walter Johnson parallax painting is I'm going to take that. And if I get that Walter Johnson portrait, I'm going to take that to Walter Johnson's birthplace in Kansas. Now, there's no house there. There's a big rock and a plaque, but I'm going to still do that. I'm going to take that there. The other card I would like to get, I don't know if I can afford both, is, and Don, I know you have one because I've seen it recently on the Red Heart Musial. I want to get a Red Heart Stand Musial card so bad.
Yeah, that card's awesome.
That's, and if I come away with just the Johnson, oh yeah, you're getting me all revved up now, man. You're getting me all revved up.
Yeah.
Isn't that just
I
a
love
beautiful
this card? That's my favorite card of his.
Yeah. It's, sometimes his smile is like a little crooked smile, kind of slanted.
Right.
That's such a good smile in that card. And a man.
Yeah, I mean, this is a card that, I learned through the YouTube community. I didn't know what red hearts were.
Now, if I could somehow splurge and save, I shouldn't say splurge, save up a little bit more money, there's a couple other cards that might bump those out, but I just don't see how I wouldn't want to get that Johnson. That's a card, because I was a Nolan Ryan fan growing up. So when Walter Johnson, you always heard about the strikeout record with Nolan Ryan getting closer to it. So, and he's from Kansas. So obviously he was a guy I always wanted a card from. And so that's probably going to be my two ones that I get. But if I could somehow find a 49 Bowman Robinson, now I don't go by grade. I go by eye pill, and I'll look to see what the grade is. This, because that's going to kind of give me an idea of what it's going to be. I'm definitely I look at the card. I don't even worry about the grade, but knowing how much those have gone up the past year, it may be even a lower end one beyond my price range. I'm not going to get a card just to get it. I never upgrade ever. If I get a card, I love it, and I will know that will be my card for life. I never even think about upgrading to something better.
With those cards being that special on your list and why you want them,
right?
When I had the Aaron on my list, it wasn't just going to be any Aaron. Well, one, because of what I spent, but because it's so, they're, the Johnson portrait, it's not a super rare card that you find them, but I hate giving it advice, because it's not my place to tell anyone what to collect or whatever, but make sure you find the right copy. And if you don't find the right copy, don't for it, because I know this is going to be strong, so this would be great, maybe get my new card, because I had to do this. I had to keep telling myself leading up to last year's national, I'm not going to settle if it's not the right Aaron. I'm not going to force it just to say, hey, I got an Aaron, and look at it and just not it. It has to be the right one. So
I've lived 54 years on this planet. I can wait a little bit longer. And I take pride in a lot of the guys who have seen my cards. They're like, wow, you've got a really good eye. And I don't buy cards just to buy cards. It's different. I buy a lot of cards. I have a wide range of collection, but there's always a reason why I buy something rather than I'm just going to buy it. Even if it's a card I really, really want, I'm going to get one that I like. So, most of my cards have really good centering. The ones that have bad centering normally have sharp corners, because when I was a kid, that's what was important, was the corners. People didn't really consider the centering as much as 4 sharp corners. That's what you wanted to have. Well, not so much anymore. I'll take corners, like Mike Petty says, with, some well-loved corners, or whatever his phrase is for that, honest corners. I'll take that if it's centered nice with good registration all day. So no, I will be picky. I've already told some friends, because I'm one of those people, if I see something, I know I like it and it fits I'll buy it right off the bat. I don't want to do that and then walk 3 tables down and find a card even better for $700 cheaper. So but I'm going to be happy. Like I said, if you guys see me there, which you will, I'm going to be hurting. I'm going to be smiling so much. I'm just going to have such a good time. I can't wait to meet everybody. it's exciting.
Well, your enthusiasm is really refreshing, and I think it's gonna live up to
Oh yeah,
what you're expecting. It's not one of those things where you hype it up and you get to go, you
well, I
won't
was
feel that way at all. And that's it. I'm looking forward to meeting you as well. I'm sure
saying
John is.
Absolutely.
I won't
Yeah.
smoke a stogie with you guys, but I'll sit there and have a drink. But, my parents smoked enough for me growing up. I choose not to do that now. I got enough health stuff going on. I don't need to add to it.
Well,
But,
with those positive vibes there, we are getting a little bit past an hour here. So, Mike, thanks so much for coming on the show, telling us about
enjoyed it, Mike.
your
I've had a
background, how
blast.
you're been inspired by some of the cards in your collection, and I have no doubt that, and you may be already, but in the future, you're going to be someone that gets inspired by your collection and your passion for the hobby. So again, thanks for coming on with us, and we'll see when we do the next episode. Don, you'll be in charge for getting the next guest.
Yep.
We'll see if we'll do one in January or February, whenever we get around to it. But for those of you, and I keep forgetting to do it in the beginning. So if you
forget
followed
that
us
all the
up
time.
to this point, they'll see it. Hopefully they'll go into the description. But if you followed us up to this point, thank you. I will have a link to Mike's channel in the description of this video. Definitely go check his channel out and his videos. It's be very entertaining and some great cards that he shows off. And with that, we'll say goodbye and see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me on, Don and John. Had a blast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good times.
Yep.